So the ethereal part of these is making sure that you go really light and airy with your color. So you want to make sure you've got your paint colors really watered down. I'm using a small brush, which will be really helpful to control the amount of water that's going into each facet. So I'm going to start with purple because why not? And you can see, like, when it's here, you think it's really light, but once you get it on the paper, it's actually got a lot of color in it. So I grabbed just a little water, and I'm going to start to push that color around. Rinse off, dab my brush off, and now I'm going to go into my warm blue. There's no rhyme or reason to the colors that you use. I just start grabbing stuff. So like here, I know that this umber color and that blue that I just used create like a gray, like a gray tone. So I might use that on purpose to kind of bring some gray down to the bottom. And up here, I'm adding a bit more water. I'm gonna lighten it up here. And I think I'm gonna pop a little blue here too. All right, moving on, starting with purple again. Adding some of that warm blue, maybe even some brown. Back into my purple. So if I start to sense that I've got too much water, I start to push it around with my brush. You can take some out by tapping your brush off a little. Because what can happen is if you get too much water in there, it'll look really cool while it's wet, but as it starts to dry, that water will push to the outer edges, and when it dries, it'll just look like a big blob of gray or brown or whatever, a big blob of mud, and nobody wants that. So I think the trick, of course, is to control your water. And I think too, I'm gonna go ahead and get this piemontite down here too. So I want there to be a little weight down here. This is already dried a bit, but that's okay. I can simply just add a little water so that that piemontite has something to flow into. All right, so I'm gonna go over here now. This is that pinky corally color. Pop, there it goes. It's so pretty. It just gives like a little splash of something extra when you see it. So as I add color, like if I run out, I grab a little of this, I grab a little of that. You want to make sure that you've got plenty of water in it though, so that it's nice and faded. I'm adding a bit more pink to that. That is so pretty. I hope this, I just find it like I feel like I'm talking the whole time. So sometimes I think just watching is kind of the ticket on this one. I mean, the technique itself is really not that difficult, but me trying to explain it to you seems to be like really hard. So I'm hoping that you're getting the gist of it. So one of my favorite ways to create the lightest areas within these crystals is to use pretty much a cool colored blue, which here I have phthalo turquoise, and I lay it in pretty wet, move the color around, and then take some out if I need to. But it just seems to, even if no matter what color you've used around here, using this really bright, vibrant, cool blue really seems to draw the eye and give this almost like a real quality. It's like the light is shining on this one section, so you're not really seeing what's in the crystal, but just the light shining on the facets. So really cool. Okay, so once I get it to this point, then I'm going to let everything dry, and I'll show you some techniques to make it pop even more.